Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling something that's really at the intersection of psychology and philosophy.
We are. We've got this
Mm.
visual framework called breaking free from your past.
And it really tries to map out the mechanics of, how we hold on to trauma versus how we can release it.
It's a fascinating piece. It takes this messy, complex human struggle, regret, pain, all that emotional baggage, and splits it into two very distinct states.
Two states.
Yeah, on one side, you have what it calls the magnet of misery,
Okay?
and on the other, the path to freedom.
And our mission here isn't just to talk about the problem. This guide offers a specific three-step framework to stop the mind from just looping on that pain.
But to get the solution, you have to understand the trap first, this magnet of misery.
Let's start there. To understand the misery, the guide starts with a baseline, right?
It does. It describes the human soul at birth as pure light. It uses these analogies like a diamond or pure gold, completely unencumbered and clear.
Right, so the default setting is clarity. But then, of course, life happens.
Mm-hmm.
And the framework brings in this really visceral metaphor. Rusty nails in your heart.
It's a strong image, and it's meant to represent old wounds.
But I think it's important to point out, it's not just about the event that hurt you. It's about the retention of that event.
Exactly. It's the difference between getting a cut and then actively refusing to let that wound close. The guide says holding on to failures is like keeping bent, rusty nails stuck in your chest.
And the real insight here is the mechanism behind it. It's not just that the nails hurt.
No, it's that they activate what it calls the magnet of misery.
This is where the psychology gets really interesting. It claims the mind literally acts like a magnet.
Right. If you are fixated on that past pain, on that nail, you aren't just feeling bad in the moment.
You're actively recruiting more negativity.
That's the idea. The text says you're pulling in the dust and garbage of unhappiness. It's a feedback loop.
So if your focus is on that rusty nail, your brain just starts scanning for more things to be miserable about.
You become a magnet for the garbage.
That sounds absolutely exhausting.
Yeah.
And if the magnet is automatic, breaking that pull must require something pretty forceful.
It does. And the source outlines this three-step process. But step one is, well, it's a heavy lift.
Okay, what is it?
It's awareness, but not just, being aware that you're sad. It's realizing that you yourself are responsible for being held captive by the past.
Oof. That's a heavy burden, though.
Mm.
Telling someone who's suffering that they're responsible for their own captivity, couldn't that come off as victim blaming?
It's a really valid concern, but I think the distinction here is about agency over the present, not the past.
Okay, unpack that.
You're not responsible for the injury, for the nail itself, but you are the only one who can decide to remove it. And that leads right into step two.
Which is?
Decision. The guide is really clear that freedom isn't passive. It says you have to will yourself to become free. You don't just wait for it to happen.
So it's an active verb. You don't wait for time to heal you. You decide to heal. But willpower can run out. Which brings us to step three, which seems to be the key to making this permanent.
This is the real pivot point. Step three is transform the past into a lesson.
So you can't just delete it?
You can't. The memory is there. The framework says the only way to neutralize that magnet of misery is to reframe the unhappiness as a lesson.
Let's dig into that a little. We hear learn from your mistakes all the time. But how does turning it into a lesson actually stop the pain in this model?
It changes the utility of the memory. Think of it this way. If you're holding onto a rusty nail, it's just dead weight. It serves no function other than causing pain.
Right.
But if you extract a lesson from it, that memory suddenly becomes data. It becomes a tool, a compass even.
So you're basically recategorizing the file in your brain. It stops being trauma and starts being filed under wisdom.
Precisely. And once you extract the value from that event, the pain itself loses its magnetic pull. You stop attracting the dust and garbage because you're not ruminating on the injury anymore.
You're using the insight.
You're using the insight.
So it's really about efficiency then. We start as pure light, get stuck with these rusty nails, and instead of letting them just sit there and rust, we're meant to forge them into a compass.
That really connects it all together. We can't control what happens to us, but we have total control over whether we archive those events as wounds or as maps.
A much more practical way to see emotional baggage. So, here's a thought for you to chew on today. The source argues the only way forward is to transform pain into a lesson. If that's true, are there any rusty nails you're holding on to simply because you haven't yet decided what they're supposed to teach you? Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive.